When was the last time you felt caught up? Hey, we're property managers. We're never 100% caught up. But maybe you can remember that little lull in activity between the frenzy of due dates. Was it recent? Maybe you've been moving so fast for so long, it was years ago since you felt that way. Well, if you can remember getting caught up, I bet it felt pretty good. You could actually see the forest through the trees, and you can plan better. You can get that sense of control. Better yet, you've got clarity. I'm Gip Erskine, founder of Eversmarts and mentor to property managers everywhere. Welcome back from Thanksgiving. I hope you had a beautiful time with family, friends, and maybe a little football. I'll also bet you're thinking about 2018. When the holidays are here, year end is near. But if you're like most people, you might be feeling like 2017 was a blur. It went by so fast, you're not even sure whether you achieved everything you thought about achieving this time last year. It might be painful when you realize that you were busier than ever, yet you were unsure where your energies were spent. Well, it's time to get better about your approach to goals and improve your effectiveness in achieving them. And it all starts with time. Well, that's why I prepared this free 3-part video series on time mastery. Our approach to time should be a stewardship. To make the most out of it, we got to realize what it is and how to value it. So before we get started, I want to ask you a question. When you consider your current workload, would you think of yourself as an effective time manager? That's a loaded question. I get that. Having spent over 30 years in this property management industry, I understand that there's always more tasks to do than there are hours in the day. I remember times I felt completely overwhelmed and where everything was a top priority. But what if I could share some guidance? What if I could share a few small steps to your approach to time that would transform your task list into something that's both manageable and achievable? Well, that'll allow you more time for the more meaningful work so that you can deliver exceptional results. That's what I'm going to cover with you today. Now, before we begin talking about your task list, we need to address a bigger issue. That is your why. For you to give meaning to your work, you got to know why you're doing it in the first place. Everything on your to-do list contains different motivations. The significance you attach to the reasons behind anything on your task list will determine the energy and effort it takes to complete it. Let me repeat that. The significance you attach to the reasons behind anything on your task list will determine the energy and the effort it takes to complete it. When your reason why is strong enough, you can weather any storm, any setback, and overcome any obstacle. For example, let's say that you've got a report that's due today. Your why could be career preservation. Hey, if you don't submit it on time, you could get fired. If, on the other hand, you plan to attend a leadership workshop, your why could then be career enhancement. Your ability to lead others well could move you up the ladder and open up doors that might have otherwise been closed to you. So between the two choices, which why is strongest for you? I'd argue that the career enhancement training would be most beneficial in the short and long term. So what do you do now? You still have that report that's due today. Well, here's what most people do. They get defensive. They fall back into survival mode. Their thinking is dominated by job loss, and so they're operating from a fear mentality. And here's what they miss. They choose to do the report for fear of losing their job, but they don't put any action toward the leadership training. It gets relegated to the someday list. But you're not like most people. The reason why you're watching this video today is because you want to accomplish more in your life. You realize that to rise above mediocrity and deliver extraordinary results, you've got to take a different tack. So instead of thinking either or, either I attend the workshop or I do the report, I want you to think of both and. I can do both the workshop and get the report done. I mean, think about it. Isn't there any action you can take right now towards getting to that leadership workshop? Can you go to their website and just get more information? Can you download the registration form? Can you go to your calendar and block off some time for it? You can do some things. None of these actions will take more than 5 minutes. But consistently taking action is the key. You've got to do something every day to move towards your most meaningful goals. Okay, so now you get the idea of how to select between two different tasks. How about multiple tasks? So let's talk about how to prioritize multiple tasks. I remember during a recent ownership transition a few years ago, suddenly everything was due that day. Everything became a top priority, a front burner item. And that kind of approach really sets us up for failure, because when everything's a top priority, then nothing's a top priority. You know, as human beings, we can only do one task at a time. We can only think one thought, we can say one word, and we can only do one thing. Several studies have shown this to be true. The simple fact is that you can accomplish far more, far faster, if your mind and your energy is completely focused on one single task at a time. So now you might be thinking, it all sounds good, Gip, but what am I going to do now? I still have that mountain of work in front of me. Well, that's why I want you to pay special attention to this very next video, because in it, I'll be sharing with you my exact step-by-step approach to effective prioritization. Follow these steps, and you'll not only know how to distinguish between what needs to be done now and know what you're working on is the right thing to be working on, but you'll start to see meaningful movement towards your most important goals that can be accomplished in a focused and yet stress-free manner. I'll see you there.